Welcome to this week's episode of Eye of the Swarm, your deep dive into anything and everything related to Yellowjacket athletics with the big sound Matt Johnson. I am Jon Garver, season number 6, episode number 9. And it comes at a time, Matt, where number 1, I guess winter finally is here because we have snow on the ground. My son very excited to finally have snow.
I know, yeah, right.
And 2 comes at a time when these winter sports teams are rolling.
Yeah, we're right in the throes of it now. Everybody is into their seasons, I would say comfortably. Everybody's just about more than halfway through their seasons. Yeah, so now the conference stuff really will kick up. But everybody's playing pretty well right now. Men's and women's hockey are both on nice long winning streaks now. The men have won 9 in a row. The women have won 5. So you can't really ask for much more going into the bulk of your conference season. And men's and women's basketball now are fully into their conference seasons. And the women have won 4 in a row and the men have won 3 in a row. So it seems like things are trending in the right direction at just the right time.
Yeah, it's a fun little run here, and now once you get into the heat of the conference season, you got to see where it goes because both hockey teams are done with non-conference play. I believe both basketball teams now are done with non-conference opponents, so it's all the meaningful games the rest of the way.
Yeah, this is going to be now for playoff positioning and trying to get to their respective conference tournaments. Of course, top 4 in the UMAC men's and women's basketball make the conference tournament, and in the UMAC everybody makes it. But it still is one of those situations where you want to position yourself for the best possible advantage that you have going into the tournament. So there's a lot to play for here, and there's going to be a lot of things happening here over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, and you got 3 of those 4 teams that are in first place or tied for first place too. So it's it gets a pretty big contest coming here the rest of the way. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Men's hockey with 13 wins now. They're now ranked nationally in 2 polls, which is nice. Women's hockey, 9 wins on the season.
Surpassed their total from last year.
Yeah, their total of all of last year, and still have conference games to go. Men's and women's basketball. The men now sitting at 5-8 or 6-8. I think it's 6-8 now overall. But now 3 straight wins, good wins. 2 of them have been really good wins, and being a little bit of I don't want to say they're depleted, but a Northland team that's rebuilding. And the women, same thing, a couple of nice victories for them to start the conference season, and now they've got a big challenge coming up this weekend. So, we're going to find out a lot about each of the 4 teams. Men's and women's indoor track and field also getting underway this weekend, hosting the Twin Ports Open. So there's plenty happening right now.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. Let's talk about a little bit of the week that was.
Okay, the week that was, obviously we talked about all the teams are winning right now, so everybody went undefeated last week. Latest results, men's hockey and men's and women's basketball both played Northland last night. Again, Northland in a full rebuilding stage of their athletic department, I would say, across the board, not just one team or 2 teams. It's the entire department. The men's basketball got up by 31 in the second half of their game and ended up playing a lot of bench players. But Reed Johnson had himself a week.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he had 33 in the win against North Central, and then he had 30 against Bethany Lutheran on the road, and that road win. So 63 combined points in two games. He was men's basketball athlete of the week, and certainly well deserved because he played a whale of
he played some good ball.
And then yesterday he continued. He had 16 points and only took 11 shots. He was very, very efficient again yesterday as well. So he's playing really well right now. Andrew Cornelius had a big game yesterday, 18 points, 8 out of 9 shooting. So that'll work anytime. They'll take that from him anytime. So men's basketball, they went 3-0 in the last week. Women's basketball, same story.
Yep.
They won 4 in a row if you go back to the win over MSOE and the non-conference season. But they got a big win against North Central in a game where a lot of different players contributed to it. Elise Besonen was kind of held under wraps a little bit. North Central made a concerted effort to make sure that she.
I remember at one point on the broadcast you said she's got more points than more turnovers than points.
Yeah, and she hadn't even taken many shots. She had taken maybe 2 or 3 shots in the entire game, and they made a real concerted effort to kind of limit her exposure to the basketball.
I think it was let's force them to use somebody else to beat us.
But they got contributions from across the board and a lot of different players. Mackenzie Lesha had a really nice game for them. Katie Dobson has been playing really good basketball this year. She also helped out, and so they were getting points. Elsa Olsen had a nice game, so they were able to spread it around a little bit and showed some depth, and that was a nice win. And then against Bethany Lutheran, off balanced in the lane, flip up shot with 2 seconds left from Elise Besonen, who really took over in that game. Really efficient. She was 10 out of 15. She scored 23 points. And then last night against Northland, another day at the office, 15 points. She was, again, very efficient from the field. Didn't play a lot of minutes. Had a couple of steals, but the Yellowjackets were able to get everybody in the game yesterday. They got points, I think, from 15 different players. And she was one of 3 Yellowjackets in double figures. So, a good win and a good way to set up the weekend on the basketball side for both teams. Big games coming up, though.
Yep.
Especially for the women.
Yep.
On the women's side, Martin Luther playing really good ball this year. I think they've been the surprise team of the conference for sure.
Without a
doubt. They beat Northwestern in overtime yesterday. They and the Yellowjackets are the 2 only undefeated teams in the league at the moment. So that's gonna be a big one.
That's gonna change.
Yep, that's gonna change on Saturday. Somebody's gonna be 4-0 and somebody else is gonna be 3-1. Then a road game against Northwestern and then home against Morris a week from Saturday. So it's gonna be next 10 days are gonna tell us a lot. And that's the same schedule for the men too. So it's gonna tell us a lot. It's gonna tell us a lot about where they are for both teams.
Yep.
And on the hockey side of things, women's hockey closed out the non-conference, sweeping Concordia Moorhead for the year. That was a nice win, 3-2 on the road. They won their invitational during the holiday season. Won 5 in a row now. And it's been ever since we had Bree and Veda on the podcast that they've been on this little streak. So
they've been rolling. They've been playing really well.
Yep. And then your squad, men's hockey, playing really well.
They're playing well.
Yeah.
They're playing well.
Give the lowdown on what they're doing differently this year than they've done in past years to be so successful.
Scoring goals.
Okay.
They've already last Friday when they beat Concordia, they surpassed their total for all of last year.
Yeah.
So they're scoring goals, and I think some of the guys that he expected to produce as freshmen that maybe didn't are producing right now.
Okay.
So the offense is there. They're not giving up many. I think they've given up after last night 28 goals in 17
like
in 17 games.
66.
So they're
right?
giving up
Yeah.
like 1.6 goals a game.
Okay.
You're going to win some games if you're playing that way. The goaltending's been very good. His defense core has been elite.
Yeah.
They've been absolutely tremendous, and the forwards are scoring goals.
Yeah.
So it's they've been able to stack up some wins here, and now the true test.
Yeah.
Now the true test, because you've got 8 to go. They're all in conference play. You have 2 with River, 2 with Eau Claire, 2 with Stout, and 2 with Point.
Yep.
And so
pretty straightforward from here.
It really is, and you did a good job stacking wins here, and now can you continue to stack some of those wins? Or even if your streak goes away, but you're at least splitting some of those or taking 2 out of 3 the rest of the way, you're going to be just fine.
Yeah, and the depth is there, too. The scoring depth is there.
Yeah,
it's not
it
just
is.
1 or 2 or 3 guys.
No, I mean, they had 7 different players score against Concordia last Friday. They had 7 different players score last night. So 7 players scored, 11 had at least 1 point.
Yeah.
So they've got a real balanced attack going right now. And
they got a couple guys that are point per game guys right now.
They got a couple that are in that point per game range. Yep, Ickey's there and Reed Stark is there. So, now, like I said, now the true test.
Yep.
And can you keep some of this going when you get into the teeth of this WIAC schedule? Because right now you look at the standings. Superior's in first place. They have 16 points, 2 points up on Stevens Point. You've got 4 teams separated by 4 or 5 points.
That's a jumble every year.
Every single year. So it's going to come down to that final weekend like it always does. And, as it stands right now, that final weekend is going to be here at Westman against, featuring the top 2 teams.
Yeah.
So if the Yellowjackets can hold serve in there and the Pointers can hold serve in there, they're going to be playing for a conference title come that last weekend.
Yeah, could be a lot of fun.
Could be.
If things break the right way.
Yep.
So yeah, it's, all the teams are winning right now. Everybody's, like you said, just about in first place.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully some hard work coming our way, but there's a lot of things that need
a lot
to
to
go
be
our way.
played here
Yeah,
still.
a lot to be played still.
A lot
so
to be played.
Optimistic, but we'll see where we are in a couple of weeks.
Absolutely.
That's sort of the lay of the land at the moment. So yeah.
We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we will be sitting down to talk some basketball. We'll have head coach Emily Carpenter and Elise Besonen from the Yellowjacket women's program coming to join us. That'll be next. You are watching Eye of the Swarm.
Find your passion. Find your people. Find your purpose. Find your superior.
We're back on the roundtable segment of this week's Eye of the Swarm, and it's time for us to hit the hard court, talk a little basketball. We've got head coach Emily Carpenter and Elise Besonen from the Yellowjacket women's basketball team, and things going pretty well right now. 4 in a row.
Yeah.
So a good little bounce back from a rough stretch there.
Yep.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, we knew our non-conference was going to be
Tough.
a little bit tougher this year. Told them last year, when you win the conference, your season's going to get naturally harder the next year anyways. So, but that's, it prepares us for the conference season. Obviously, like I said, had a nice stretch, had a good win before going into winter break to kind of give us some momentum coming back into break. And now, obviously, good start to the conference season. So, yeah, been going well.
It's a similar blueprint to what women's soccer did.
Yeah.
When she beefed up the non-conference schedule quite a bit.
Yep.
Knowing full well we're using this for tournament time.
Right.
And being able to advance. Joe did that in men's soccer. So very similar blueprint.
For sure. And
3 of their losses are by combined 7 points.
I was going to say three of them have been one possession games. So, for come out on the other side, obviously it's different. But at the same time, we are competing in those tougher non-conference games that, in the past maybe we really haven't been. So obviously good to see that growth. And like I said, it's just overall helping us for our conference season. And, the players know that yes, we want to, win those games and saying, yes, we're playing well and everything. And obviously we want to win them moving forward. But they truly know, that's why we play them for the conference season. So.
Yeah, and I was going to ask from a player's standpoint, I mean, of course, winning's fun, and racking up wins, again, it doesn't matter who you're playing, winning is fun, but there's so much more growth opportunity on the other side, and you win some of those, you lose some of those. From a player's standpoint, obviously, you can see the long game on that, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, sure, it can be frustrating to have so many that were, right there and then just can't finish, but playing those tougher teams really has, I think, made us, feel more in control, more calm for our conference season, so...
Yeah, I've seen them play. I think I've done most of their home games. So
well, they were gone for 2 months.
Bizarre schedule
month.
this year. In terms
Month of December, we weren't at.
Well, and it was not just them; it was also the men. It was the same situation with the men. So we went for about 6 weeks where we really didn't see much of Yellowjacket basketball around here. But at the beginning of the year, it's always kind of a feeling out process. There are a lot of veterans on this team. It's players who played a lot of minutes. It's every year's a little different. As far as team chemistry, you got to get that going. And they had good moments and bad moments. They had some really good moments and some moments that they would probably like to have back. Emily, you and I talked about it. Just wanted to get over the hump a little bit. Wish they would have had a couple of those non-conference wins. We kind of ran out of time against McAllister. Eau Claire could have gone either way. St. Kate's was a one-possession game. I mean, these are all games that you look back and you can break them down play by play if you need to, if you want to. But that's one of those preparation things, though, because we said the exact same thing about women's soccer. Mm-hmm. They were right on the cusp. They played some really tough games. They lost a lot of one-goal games at the beginning of the year, and then by the end of the year, they were firing on all cylinders. And so it's sort of the same blueprint, I think, is sort of how women's basketball has kind of set this up. And, it's so far so good, for sure. I mean, that win against Bethany was a big one. That's... They haven't won a lot of games, but they're a tough squad, and especially in their own building.
So. I say that's not an easy place to play.
No, they know it. We all know it. Told the newcomers this year, I was like, just wait till you get there. It's a fun gym essentially because it makes it the crowd feels like it right on top of you. They are basically so. But I'm just like,
it's tiny.
Beware,
really
your fans, your parents are going to be right there. You can turn around and basically touch them by sitting on the bench. The fans can see exactly what I'm drawing up on the whiteboards and everything. But I told them too. I was like, their record might not show for it, but I said they're a good team, and they obviously will be moving forward. They got a lot of young girls on the team still, so obviously it was a nail biter. So.
Yeah, that was a heck of a shot you made. I watched it at the end of the game. I was like, they were taking this all the way down, and I was sort of like, okay, there's 3, 2, and then all of a sudden the ball went up in the air, and she was off balance when she shot it. So I thought, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I said, you look at the replay, I told her, I'm like, you didn't even really look at the basket. When you shot, eventually she did.
She was leaning this way, and all of a sudden the ball went up, and I was like, oh, okay. We'll take it. So, but that was a real gut check for you guys, too, because that was a really tight ball game all the way through. So, You knew it was going to be tough. Had a really good win against North Central in that first game, and then going down to Bethany. And like I said, that's always a tough trip to make. But you guys came through it pretty well. Like that was.
Yeah, no, I told them that I think the biggest takeaway from that is like they held their composure. I mean, we were up to maybe not the best call, on the other end, put them up 3.
I will go ahead and say that was a terrible. I'm not going to name it. I don't know who the official was, but to make that call,
you don't have to answer to the supervisor of officials, so you're good. You're good.
I literally said out loud, "You cannot make that call."
Yeah, it was.
That you cannot make that call.
Not the best, but like I said, they held their composure. I told them like I had no doubt that I knew we would win that game, even when that call was there, and the girl made all 3 free throws, and I said coming down on the other end, they held their composure, and that's what, like I said, the top teams in the conference have to be able to do. We're gonna get every team's best game this year. They're gonna be gunning for us, so it's how we just handle ourselves in moments like that. So.
Yeah, I think the maturity really came through, especially because when you get that, a foul on a 3-point shot, I don't think she even hit her. To be honest with you, like she ran by her, but the guy called it, and I was like, "There's 21 seconds left in this game. You're making that call."
I mean, Elise has been, in that situation multiple times for us, so I'm sure she was ready. She knew the ball was going to be in her hands anyway, so just ready for that moment.
Take us through it. Take us through it mentally, knowing the ball's going to be in your hands. Take us through that play, and the flair for the dramatic at the end. So take us through what was going through your head and how you processed that entire play.
We just actually watched this back on film, and it's really funny because the way we were set up, I was supposed to come through an elevator, and I didn't. And she asked me why in film. She's like, "Is there any good reason?" I was like, "No." But
I just didn't do it.
No, legitimately, I don't know why I didn't. She's like, "You couldn't get through there. There was so much space." Like, that's a really good point. There was, but it ended up turning out okay because I knew we had enough time and was able to get the ball again and come off a screen. And I don't know. We play a lot of 2-on-2 in my house, me and my siblings. So I texted my brother after. I was like, "I only made that shot because I shooted on you. So thanks, Christian."
I will say this about Elise, and this is one of the things that she has a better offhand floater than anybody on either the men or the women's team. I've never seen a player who can float it with her offhand better than you can. Is that just something that you worked on, as a kid? I mean, being able to just go to the left hand and I'm just going to, okay, well, you're going to take my right. I'm just going to shoot it with my left here, this little, running floater with my offhand. I mean, is that something that you worked on when you were a kid? Is that?
Yeah.
Okay, because most players can't do that. And Elise does it as well as anybody that I've seen.
You're kind of looking at me. I promise you, I can't do that.
No, there's no way. I when I played, I couldn't do it. I mean, there's no way. I mean, that's a heck of a shot. I mean, and I've seen her do it several times, and it's like I love it when she does it. So it shows a real range of skill.
She had one in the Bethany game. She had multiple. I mean, she had one at the end of the halftime, first half buzzer beater. She threw it up with her left hand. But then another one I specifically remember came off a ball screen. We were running balls pick and roll the entire time because honestly they couldn't really have that mismatch from Charlotte setting the screen for Elise coming off of it. And she was actually at the free throw line and had a mid-range jumper and threw it up with her left hand and banked it in. And I was like,
I think I got hit on that one.
I was like, it went in, but I'm like, you could have just shot a normal.
I mean, most people,
shot,
and it's not just a floater with her left hand. She can do it far out.
It's
not just a little 5-footer, or she can do it from 15 feet if she can do it. Because I've seen her do it multiple times. And I'm like, that is just the degree of difficulty for that is really, really high. It's
Kylie, we'll take it. Whatever.
Exactly.
You can do whatever you want.
Exactly. But that just shows how skilled Elise is.
Definitely.
I mean, I'm not going to revisit the Northland game too much, just because they're in a really tough spot. We've talked about it on this show before. Actually, I have mad respect for all of their athletes, just because of the simple fact that
big time they keep showing up.
Yeah, they keep showing up. They keep playing hard. It's a really tough
hard
spot that they're in right now, and I feel bad. I also feel bad because it's her dad's alma mater, and her father Brad played. Both played there. So I feel horrible for the entire situation in Northland. With that being said, you're able to get a lot of players in to that game last night. And we saw some players play really well. Haley Evans was my player of the game.
Yep.
10 points and 6 rebounds in a quarter. You're going to get player of the game. But it shows I feel like there's a little bit more depth to this squad. Maybe you can talk a little bit more about that. Because last year you guys had a pretty short rotation. It was about 7 or 8 players.
Right.
This year it seems like you're playing more players. Is that because of the recruiting class, or like, I mean, how do you?
Yeah, both. I mean, it shows that, the people on the team from last year, returners and everything, have put in the hard work in the off season as well. And I've told them multiple times, like, sometimes after games, I feel bad because I know how much talent we have on this team, and I say 40 minutes is truly not enough minutes for me to get everyone in, and I wish we truly can. But yeah, we have 19 on the team right now, and I truly say it, like, I could play all 19 in a given game, and I truly wish I could. I wish I had 80 minutes a game basically to get everyone in. But like I said, everyone is just always ready for their opportunity. When their number gets called on, they continue to work hard and practice. Maybe they know they're not in that top 7 right now, 5, whatever it may be, with Elise only plays 40 minutes a game, so everyone else is they're continuing to make them better at practice, and like I said, just always continuing to work hard. And I truly think our depth helps. We can go 10 to 15, like I said, all 19 at times, and it just helps us in the long run. We want to play fast. We want to press 40 minutes of the game, basically, and everything like that. So it truly, plays into our favor with how deep our bench is this year.
It's nice also that Elise doesn't have to play 40 minutes literally every night.
Right.
Like last year, she was basically playing 40 minutes every game. I don't think she got a break unless Emily called timeout. Or the other team called timeout.
Your player of the year, why would you take her out?
Yeah, but I mean, it's even for like really top-level players, if they play more than about 32 or 33 minutes, that's a full shift. Mm-hmm. But playing 40 minutes, was that something that you enjoyed last year, or was that something that you just kind of accepted was going to
be load management here, okay?
Yeah, or is that something that you just like knew was going to be the case, and you just had to get yourself mentally ready for it?
I was kind of hoping it would be. I mean, I don't like to come off the floor if I don't have to, so.
She's a gamer.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't think that was like from sophomore year. Obviously, it was my first year coaching her. I think still led the team in minutes that year, but it was under 40. Obviously, it was maybe low 30s, and like it wasn't a conversation that we had, like, in our one-on-one after the end of the year, like, hey, at least be ready to play 40 minutes. Like, she knew the work that she, needed to put in. Obviously, I had high expectations for her, coming back off, junior, or coming off of sophomore year into junior year. And I think it was like one of our first games. I was actually thinking about that because honestly I knew that topic would get brought up because it is tough. It is hard to do that as a player, every single game for this entire season. But I just think like she knew like what she can bring to this team. And I tell the girls all the time, like, if she's scoring, she's on the court, she's helping all of us. The North Central game, maybe didn't have double digits, but they were double, triple teaming her, that it made everyone else so much more wide open. And she knows that, the entire team knows that. And I think it was last year the first time I ever played her 40 minutes. Like, I didn't even realize it was, like, at the box score I was like, oh, I never took her out.
At least never came out of the game, no.
I didn't notice that she was tired, so I'm like, okay, I guess this is how it's going to go with the remainder of the year. But, I did that multiple times in my career as a point guard. Like, you can and you should be able to essentially do that. I always say you're the coach on the court, so being able to, essentially lead the team. So, like I said, she's used to it, obviously, by now. She's done it 20-plus times in the last year and a half. But now, obviously, she does it well and leads the team well on the court. So
that North Central game was really interesting, because it really did show how many versatile options there are on the team, because they made a real concerted effort to make sure Elise
she became a decoy.
Yeah. Like, I mean, we're not going to lose track of Elise Besonen.
We're going to make somebody else beat us.
We're going to keep them. And I thought you guys ran your offense really well that night.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was probably the best as far as movement and passing that I've seen you guys in quite a while. And it was neat to see it, because it wasn't, Elise was not the focal point. She was more, I mean, she was having the ball on the outside and setting up the plays and stuff. But North Central made a concerted effort to say, if we're going to lose, it's not going to be because of Elise Besonen. And a bunch of other players stepped up, and it was really cool to see it.
Definitely. And it was coming out of halftime. We drew up this play that Elise was in the corner. We go set a stagger screen for her, and Katie was the first one to set it. And I said, Katie, all three of them are going to come to Elise. I said, slip it for a layup, wide open. And I turned to the bench. I said, I told you it would work. And I mean, obviously. Yeah. Like you said, coming off setting screens, we got layups. We were 11 for 11 in the third quarter, all layups. So, that's pretty impressive to do. I don't know if we've ever shot 100% in an entire quarter. Didn't take any threes that quarter either, and we like to shoot a lot of threes.
Well, you're a pretty good three-point shooting team.
I'm willing to bet that's never happened.
I don't think so. Not even. I don't think any teams that
I don't remember that even being something that I just spotted in a box and went, "Holy cow!"
I didn't realize it until the end of the quarter.
I didn't realize it until the end of the game. To be honest,
I was like,
oh, that makes a lot of sense.
11 for 11. Huh, she went way up.
Yeah.
But it showed a lot of good cuts and abilities, from players other than Elise Besonen. I think there's so much focus sometimes on Elise, especially from the opponents,
Right.
that they don't realize, because Katie Dobson's having a great year. I mean, her numbers are really good. I mean, she's basically 45, 43, and about 85.
Yeah.
Those numbers are in those three spots and double-digit digit scoring. That's having a year.
Yeah.
And she's having a year. And she just looks so confident right now.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about it a little bit last year. Obviously, she's a 3-year starter now. Maybe didn't have the, obviously came her sophomore year. She blew out everyone out of the water. As all of a sudden everyone's like, basically, who is Katie Dobson?
After spending a full freshman year basically not playing at all.
Right.
All conference her sophomore year. Then coming into junior, obviously had expectations and, maybe didn't, produce as much as she wanted to on the offensive side. Obviously, she still, contributed hugely on the defensive side and, still on the offensive side getting the teammates open and everything. But just said, like, hey, she, she wants to essentially, prove herself wrong or redeem herself essentially, come back her senior year and just, go kind of be that go-to offensive player as well. And obviously she's one of the hardest workers on the team. She's always in the gym. They're roommates. They're always in the gym together doing that. And I think obviously that shows for them. But Katie's been having a really good year and, kind of that go-to player, especially on the offensive side. Like you said, if she's getting triple teamed, it's like, okay, let's get the ball to Katie because she's shooting at a very high percentage. And I think that goes to show how we talked about our depth already. Like we go into games at the end and we look and we have 4+ people in double digits.
Right.
And, and it's, like I said, we say this all the time, like we don't necessarily need, Elise to score 25 to 30 points for us. Yes, obviously it would be nice, it would help, but if that's not the case, like we have other people that can step up in that given moment. Elsa Olsen has been playing really well this conference season, averaging double digits so far, and just has been kind of that, that next player. Obviously Mackenzie Lesha has been on the offensive side. Obviously she's always that defensive player for us, but
The
really,
art of the steal.
Yeah, the art of the steal.
Yeah, but really, picking up on the offensive side, obviously Charlotte Fursel, she's 5 inches taller than basically anyone we play, so we just, pounded it into her, and I think that, obviously our starting lineup, we go multiple games where basically all of them can be in double digits. If not, then the next lowest is 9 points, so, it's really helped us, and like I said, the balance and just having that depth for us has, been huge for us.
Obviously, I'm glad you brought this up because I'm glad you brought up Elsa because she's the player that stepped in the starting lineup. I mean, Erica Madsen was the lone starter who graduated last year. You brought Elsa Olsen in. Elsa was basically a 6th player last year for you guys. How's been that transition from her now coming in? Because she's a different player from Erica. Erica was kind of a tweener, a good jump shooter, but she was a little bit taller, so she was a little bit more of a 3 or 4 kind of, But Elsa's a true point guard. She's a 1 or a 2. How's that been for, well, I'll ask you both. How's her transition been, in your opinion, to the starting lineup?
Sure. You can answer first because I probably will repeat things, so I'll let you go.
It's been kind of nice for me because she can take some of the heat handling the ball, so I can be off ball a little more and get some different looks there. So that's been pretty nice for me, at least.
Yeah, I mean, same thing last year at the end of the year. Maybe she didn't, produce as much as she wanted to on the offensive side. Obviously had a really good freshman year as well. And so just she's I say that, about Katie, about Elsa, or Elise, one of the hardest workers. Like, Elsa is too, like, it's just our team. Essentially, I could say that about 1 through 19. But at the same time, Elsa really has put in the time over the summer and, this off season and just basically asked, like, what she can, be doing to, essentially get more minutes than she did last year, help the team a little bit more, and basically said, like, the offensive side. Like, she's a good defender. She, she's one that sacrifices her body, takes how many charges a game. She's willing to step up and do that, but just have really put in the time on the offensive side. And one of our biggest thing that we said is, like, hey, she's got really good floater, got really good handles attacking the basket. Now let's work our game out a little bit more, and it's truly proved her hard work of, she's able to shoot the 3, had 2 huge threes in the Bethany game. So it's been good to be able to have them essentially both in at the same time, because obviously they're very similar positions. Like we say, if Elise is on, okay, Elsa's going to bring the ball up, or vice versa, and it's just a little bit more versatile for us for some different plays that we want to run. Like I said, the pick and roll. It's like, okay, if one girl brings the ball up the court and passes it, sometimes it's hard to get the ball back in that same possession. So it's definitely opened up a lot of things for us. And Elsa is, she's been in the started in the beginning of the year, then kind of changed the lineup a little bit, and now has been back in that, and she's accepted that, and she's proven why she deserves to be in that spot right now.
Talk a little bit about You've used the word growth a couple times here, so talk a little bit about how this group has grown from last year to this year, and talk a little bit about yourself as a coach, how you've grown
For sure.
from even year 1 to year 2, and winning a conference now from year 2 to year 3. Talk a little bit about
Yeah,
that.
I mean, I think the players, like I just keep talking about the hard work. They, especially for the returners, they said, after we lost that, championship game last year, they're like, we're getting back to this spot. They're like, we're doing whatever we have to get back to that. And so they've just really put in that work off the court, in the summertime, like I said, in this, fall. And even now throughout the season, like, we're still, we still practice 2 hours a day, but they're still in the gym before or after practice, whatever it may be. And I think one of the biggest things that has helped us is truly the off-court, growth, the chemistry. They get along really, really well. They're always doing things together, and I truly think that's helped us on the court. We say this all the time, they're truly happy for each other's success. If it's not Elise in that given moment, someone else. Elise is still happy, just as happy as she is for that person. So that's kind of what has been, I think, our key point as to why we've been able to be so successful is what we've been able to do off the court. We brought 6 newcomers in this year, and, we had a lot of returners. We have a larger group this year, biggest group that I've had, in the last 3 years, and honestly, like, it doesn't seem like that. Like, it's truly just one core group. I've told them this multiple times, and the point where we were, started this year in October, day 1, I thought we were already 5 times better, 10 times better than we were
Really?
where we ended the season last year. And I think it's just, like I said, the hard work, but then 2, just, we're running the same offense, but at the same time, we're taking it to the next level this year, a lot more different looks, and they've truly have bought into that and understanding it and seeing it paying off. So, like I just said, like, they've truly have grown off the court, and that's what has made us on the court. As a coach, I would say, obviously, just, yes, have a lot of returners, so that helps, a little bit, just because I've, now it's year 3 with majority of them, and just kind of have been able to, see their game grow and kind of, okay, this is where they're growing in their game. Okay, now let's, implement that into, into our style, into our offense to help them, put them in successful situations. But I also think just one of my friends told me there at the Bethany game that I'm a lot calmer this year than I, have been in the past. And I think, yes, that goes with having a lot of, returners and experience and everything. And kind of, I've always say this to recruits, like, I want them to basically be able to play off each other. I don't really want to have to control too much. Yes, obviously, when we're 20 seconds left of the game, I'm going to call out a play for us to draw up. But other than that, it's just I want them to kind of be able to play off of each other. And I think just kind of have settled in a little bit. And now just, like, watching, be like, okay, can really analyze during the game. Like, okay, this is working for us. Let's continue this. Okay, we tried this and it's not working. Now, let's do something new. Let's put, like I said, put players in successful positions. So I think just kind of that. And I think off the court as well for me as well, just getting to know them even more every single year, and then just I love the game of basketball, so I continue to watch it basically year round and just learning new things myself. And I see something, I'm like, okay, let's go try this. I told them, I was like, if you've ever watched the Lynx, that's kind of what we want to try to run this year. So taking it from the high level that it works and now trying to implement it in our team. So
I want to talk about you guys' relationship a little bit, just because it's been really interesting to watch it. When you came in, I think there's always a question about a new coach coming in, especially a coach who may be an alum, but has been away from the program, doesn't know the players all that well. When you came in, it seemed like you guys instantly kind of bonded. Because I see a lot of your style of play when you played here in Elise. Just talk about how that relationship has kind of matured over the years, because I know that you guys are very close, not just as as just a coach to a whole team, but I know you guys' relationship is quite close. Just talk about how that relationship has kind of matured over the last 3 years together.
you can start.
I was really excited when we found out that she was going to be coaching us, because, like, through the recruiting process and when I was kind of looking at schools, I mean, she was playing the position that I wanted to play, and it was exciting to see. I mean, we're both short, so it's like
we can say it. We know.
Yeah.
Everyone can see it.
Well, like, the body types are similar, the style of play is similar. That's what I mean. Like,
No, but I mean, like, sometimes some schools you don't see, like, girls under 5'4", like, getting minutes. So that was kind of exciting to see. And then just with your experience and everything, just having that come in was, I don't know, I was really excited, and I still am.
Well, I know, like I said, it was very much a bonding thing because Emily, of course, played point guard, and that was her position here for 4 years. And Lisa's a point guard. She's played point guard here for 4 years. So it sort of made sense in that regard, but it also, it's a very unique relationship. You don't see too many players that come in and they get to play under a coach that played the exact same position in the exact same program, hoping to do the exact same things that, said coach did. Right. And so that was really unique. I know, Emily and I have talked about this, and I know that, it's just one of those things where it is a special relationship, isn't it?
Yeah, no, obviously it's year 3, and I wish we had her and the other seniors for 5 more years, basically. But no, it is cool because obviously people tell me this, my friends told me this, they're like, I've never seen you play basketball, but they're like, I can imagine that number 22 looks a lot like you when you played. And like it definitely is, and obviously see, kind of similarity, see myself basically out there and just, putting herself in those positions. Obviously she can, shoot the ball very well, and
that was what you did
yeah,
too.
Yeah, exactly. And I told her, obviously, there's records that we set to be broke. So obviously, hopefully, she can get some of those, 3-point records this year. And obviously, it helps the entire team. But just I see things and be like, okay, well, it works for me essentially, like we said, at this height. So I see something, okay, now I'm going to, tell her, and it's yes with her, but then all the other guards, especially, like when we split a lot of, post guard breakdown, take the guards and run them through a lot of drills that, I practiced, that I did and everything to be able to obviously help me. We have some other shorter girls on our team as well, so working on, when we get into the lane and there's a Charlotte first is standing in front of you, what are we supposed to do with that decision making and everything? So just being able to do that. And obviously keep saying one of the hardest workers and everything, and obviously she's a 2-year captain now, so if I ask her to basically do anything, she's going to do it for, for the betterment of the team and everything. So from, I knew who she was, obviously, when I was coming into this program, knew the potential that she had, obviously, as a freshman year. Obviously, I was going through COVID, so that was a little bit difficult and everything, but just knew the potential that she had right away and everything, and I think every year she stepped up in, in that moment and for the entire team, and it's gotten better every single year. So.
Well, it is special, I assume, for Elise, because Emily knows what it's like. She's been in those shoes. Right. She's done that in this program. Mm-hmm. And so it is one of those things where if Elise goes to Emily, she can say, hey, look, this is something I want to know how you handled this when you played, and so on and so forth. And
she's always asking me questions too, which obviously which is really good. But like at practice, she'll be like, we do scenarios and end of the game situation. She says, I just want to know why you think that, or like why we wanted to go at this certain time, things like that. Just obviously, so for her, to help her, like I said, the betterment of the entire team, and obviously plays 40 minutes a game. I did that, so in a nice way, I'm like, she's fine, she can do it, like she doesn't need a break or anything like that. I remember one of the first, our first year, a little bit some ups and downs, maybe more than we've had, and I think it was after a loss, and she didn't play bad or anything by any means, but obviously not the outcome we wanted. And after the I remember in the locker room, she goes, can I talk to you? I'm like, okay, well, the game just ended, so what, like, this can't wait or anything? And she pulled me aside and she goes, can you yell at me? I was like, she goes, no, like, seriously, like, she's like, if I'm not doing something right, like, please let me know. Like, she's like, I can take it, I want to know, it's going to make me better. From there, obviously, I'm pretty hard on her. She knows that, the entire team knows that. Some of the fans maybe on the sideline see me yelling at her, and they're like, geez, she's hard. I'm like, no, this is what she wants.
She asked for this.
She's definitely the daughter of a coach.
Yeah, and she said that. She said that. She's like, my parents, it's how she was raised, that's how she grew up, it's how it makes her better. So, she can take it. I'm obviously hard on her. I'm obviously hard on the entire team because of, the potential and what I expect, but maybe a little bit more towards her. And I chewed her butt kind of a little bit at the Stout game. I said, you need to be this leader of this team. You're not necessarily playing like it, and had her career high, 29 came in the second half. And at the Bethany game, I told her she had 11 points in the first half, and there was 8 minutes left of the game in the fourth quarter. I looked at the scoreboard and pointed, and I said, you haven't scored. No. I said, you haven't scored in 15, 20 minutes or whatever it may be. And I said, and from there she had 12 points in 8 minutes. I said, you need to take over right now because I know you can do it. And that's exactly what she did. So.
It was interesting because when Emily came in her first year, she's like, I have to have Elise shoot the ball more. And I said, that she's naturally a passer, though. She doesn't want to have to shoot the ball a lot. I don't care. I want her to shoot the ball more. And it became more of a, it reminded me of your relationship with Don Mulhern when he was here coaching you, because he also got on you. I mean, and he was known to get on his players if they weren't doing their job. So it's kind of creating that kind of atmosphere, right? That culture of like, look, I expect a lot from my point guards. I got chewed out quite a bit when I played here, but it's constructive, and learning how to do that and learning how to go to Elise, and Elise is, thankfully, she's a sponge for that kind of thing. She's going to take that kind of, that kind of criticism, but also constructive criticism, and then apply it correctly because she knows she can do it. So I know that was a transition for you too, Elise, because the first 2 years here, you were basically more of a setup player than anything else, and then you became more of a focal point on the offense. So that's a tough transition, isn't it, sometimes? It
can be. I was our scorer in high school, so it was just kind of like getting back into that, but now at the college level, so it wasn't too bad.
Okay. And sometimes it can be tough to know, okay, when you have this space, you don't necessarily have to look for the cutter every time. If you're open, I'm perfectly fine with you taking the ball.
That will happen. That still happens. It will be a possession, whatever it may be. The next possession, I'll be like Elise, and she'll look at me and be like,
yeah, I know. I should have shot the ball.
Yeah. She doesn't even have to say it. I just know.
Yes. And I tell her this, and I've told the team obviously multiple times, like you said, like if she's scoring, obviously she's player of the year for a reason. Like she's helping us as an entire team, so she knows that. Her entire teammates know that. They look to get her the basketball as well, but she's also understanding now, as a senior at North Central game, a good example, like she's getting double, triple team, like, okay, she's still helping the entire team, and she's not one to, force shots up because she wants to get her points or anything like that. She's going to draw the triple team and kick it out to, open shooters, like I said, and now everyone has been stepping up in that given moment as well, so.
It's pretty easy to see a coaching future there, isn't it?
I would say so. She wants to be a teacher and everything, loves the game of basketball.
She's the daughter of two coaches.
I know.
Yeah. Basketball runs in her family, so I would definitely say
they're definitely
so.
a basketball family,
yeah,
for sure.
Definitely.
Speaking of coaches, new assistant coach this year, talk to me about how he's blended in with everybody.
Yeah, obviously came from North Carolina. He came from a lot of Division I experience, a lot of, operations and everything like that, and came, in the kind of, not middle of the year, it was early in the year, but we had already been 2-3 weeks into practice already, and he just came the first day, and I was like, all right, we got practice in 3 hours, and we'll see you there. And he, Samina's fit in very well, and he's not a shy person by any means. The first day of practice, he was, yelling at him. I gave him a sheet with all the roster on it, and he was getting everyone's name, numbers, everything like that. I think it took him one day to do that, and, it's been a lot of help. As he's getting more comfortable, with the basketball side of, actually taking the girls and doing certain drills and everything like that. It's been a lot of, help for us to do smaller group activities, drills, things like that, and be able to split a little bit more, where I'm not so focused on, watching all 19 players at one time like I kind of have been in the past. So it's definitely been a lot of help. Obviously, it helps me in the office a lot. Has definitely taken a bigger step into the scouting portion for us, and a lot of film and, breakdown for that. So it's just all around has been super helpful. Like I said, he's not shy by any means, so he fits in with the group very well. Right. We like to have a lot of fun, goof around. We like to talk a lot and everything. Sometimes him and I in the office, I'm like, okay, we probably actually should get some work done now, just having conversations about basketball. Spend a lot of time together, recruiting. We just went down to Eau Claire the other day and everything, so it's been really helpful. It's been super good. Definitely a very good, transition to our team, and in a much given needed moment, I should say.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, he's a very straightforward guy. Mm-hmm. If you've talked to Simeon, he's a very walk up, shake your hand. The first time I was at practice this year, he came over and he said, "I don't know you," and I said,
Nope, no, you don't.
Yeah, no, you don't. And then I introduced myself, and he shook my hand. He's like, "I'll remember that." Mm-hmm. And so now we talk pretty often. Whenever I see him around, I make sure we have a chat, and he'll ask me questions about Emily's career and about the history of the program and stuff. So he's invested. He's one of those guys. He's very relatable. Definitely. He's very passionate. He's got a lot of energy, and he seems to relate well to you guys. That's, I think, one of the things that it seems like you guys don't have any problem going up and joking with him and talking with him at all. So it seems like he's been a good fit to the program. Would you agree with that, Elise? It seems
definitely. Yeah. We see him in the gym a lot. He's very chatty and just excited to be here. I mean, he said the other day, he's like, "Oh, I just love being in the gym." So
yeah. He's a very passionate guy. He's got a lot of energy. He's really excited. And he seems like he's eager to learn too and kind of move up the chain. And that's sort of what Emily's program is kind of built on.
He's always asking me questions about, how I do certain things, why I do certain things. Obviously, he wants to continue to learn, pretty early on in his, career. Obviously, like I said, been at some Division I schools, but that was more on the operation side. It's not really too much, invested in the actual basketball day-to-day, X's and O's, things like that. So he's always asking me questions. And, how about, what about this? I saw this and things like that. So it's, it's good to have another set of eyes. I'm not seeing something and he is, and we were able to bounce ideas off of each other. And like you said, very straightforward. I think that fits well because that's the type of person I am. I'm gonna tell you how it is. So it's like I said, it's been a huge addition to our team. So
as you look at the sprint to the finish here, it's because it seems like he just started. We haven't seen them because they took off for 6 weeks. But there's not much time left in the regular season here. So give me just a real quick forecast on the UMAC, because I feel like looking at it on both the men's and women's sides this year, this thing is wide open.
Oh, definitely is. Obviously, this weekend is going to be very,
it's pivotal.
That was the exact word I was just about to use. Point, because obviously we're both the top two teams in the league right now, both sitting at 3-0. Martin Luther, obviously in the past you think of Martin Luther and everyone kind of, knows what their reputation is, and they're completely opposite this year. They're super, super good. They got they're 9-4 overall. They're 6-0 at home, so it's going to be a very tough game. And like I said, a very pivotal point in the season. I truly believe, obviously our goal, we went 13-1 last year. Our goal is obviously try to go 14-0. We just want to continue to improve, but at the same time, I truly believe the winner of this league could have 2 to 3 losses this year. That's just how even, honestly, the top 5 teams are. Like I said, Bethany, they're a very, good team. Obviously, Northwestern just lost to Martin Luther in overtime last night. So, Morris obviously beat us last year. So, it's, it is definitely wide open, and I truly believe it's anyone's league. Obviously, we want to, continue our reputation in the league and, get back to that spot. But then, obviously, we're the reigning champs, and I tell them everyone's going to be gunning for us, and we're going to get everyone's best game. And so we just know we have to, I keep saying it, mentally be prepared for that, mentally locked in and going into the game, because obviously we're, talking about our depth. We're physically there, we're fast, we're strong, we're tall, we're short, but at the same, at the same time, and hey, I can say that. I can say that. I can say that. She might, if we stood back to back, she might have a half inch on me, so I could say that. But other than that, it's just mentally, like I talked about Bethany game, staying composed, facing the adversity in the game, get basketballs as the game runs, being able to, just balance that and how we respond. Obviously, I'm very excited. Like you said, it seems like we just started, but then I was like, we play Martin Luther, Northwestern, Morris next week, and I'm like, oh, that's already one time through the entire conference. And it's, and then we restart again and everything. So, but we always say we just got to take one day at a time, one possession at a time. Obviously, I'm thinking about practice today. Obviously, yes, thinking about Saturday, but truly thinking about, practice today, what we can continue to work on before Saturday. And it's, it is a long season. We're only 12 games left of it and everything like that. Yes, it comes quick, but at the same time, keep saying just taking one game, one practice at a time. The hard work, they know what's at stake for us this year, what they want to accomplish, what we want to accomplish as a team. So it's essentially just putting ourselves first, and we just have to go with that. So
yeah, I mean it is. It's probably about as balanced. I think Martin Luther's a bit of a surprise to everybody. Northwestern's always tough. Morris lost some players from last year, but they're still Morris. They're gonna be tall. They're gonna be, they're gonna play
zone.
Yeah, play zone. They're gonna do all those things. North Central lost a lot of players. They're kind of on a rebuild mode. Bethany Lutheran is a tough out. You have to kind of stay composed with them because they play hard. They run up and down. Northland's in a completely different position. But it's if you break down the league, I think team by team, it's an interesting kind of looking conference this year. And it's gonna be interesting to see how it ends up. It would not be at all surprising for me if the champion this year, lost 2 or 3 games in the league. Just the way that it's been set up and the improvements that have been made, especially by a team like Martin Luther. I think is, like I said, surprised a lot of people. They were a pretty decent squad last year, but they've gotten better since last year by quite a bit. So, it's going to be interesting couple of weeks here. But I think you've got a team that, like you said, you're tall, short. You've got strength, you've got shooting. That's one thing. You guys shoot the ball very well. As a squad, you guys seem to shoot, especially the 3-ball. You guys seem to shoot the 3-ball when you need it, and that's a big equalizer. So I'm interested to see how this all plays out. It's gonna be a fun couple games. It's gonna be a big test, but it's also gonna be a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to seeing where it all goes.
Yeah.
I know you have practice just around the corner, so want to be mindful of the time here, and I think it's probably a good place to cut it off for today.
Yep.
But we want to thank head coach Emily Carpenter and senior Elise Besonen for coming in and joining us. For Emily and Elise, the Big Sound Matt Johnson, I am Jon Garver, and this has been Eye of the Swarm.